Aloha, this is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man, coming to you live once again from beautiful Hawaii here on the island of Oahu. Not, once again, not that you can tell from my silly apartment. But today, the final trailer for Halloween Kills Part 2 has come out. And well, we're going to go ahead and watch it together. I have not seen it. Some people have already reacted and talked about it, but I have not seen or watched any of their, thoughts or reactions on the Halloween Kills Part 2 trailer. And, this is coming out in October. How appropriate for Halloween in October. And I, for one, can't wait after the fantastic success of the first one that came out, the remake, still starring Jamie Lee Curtis, versus her crazy, evil brother, Michael Myers. Gosh, I guess I should talk about a little bit about, the very first movie. The remake that came out about, 2 years ago? Almost 3 years ago, I think. And that did fantastic at the box office. Surprisingly, after all of the crappy remakes and restartups that the Halloween franchise had attempted, they basically went back to the roots and back to the John Carpenter films of the 80s. The very first movie, they acknowledged that the very first John Carpenter Halloween movie happened. And then their movie, 3 years ago, was a sequel to that. Now, personally, I feel that John Carpenter's first Halloween movie and second Halloween movie are perhaps the best supernatural psycho killer movies out there. And of course those started the whole Jason Friday the 13th franchise, as Jason Voorhees was just a copy, a duplicate of Michael Myers. And, in the first movie, you didn't really know what to expect with Michael Myers or, what his deal was. But it was clear that once he was shot and fell out of Jamie Lee Curtis's house at the end of the very first, 80s movie, way back then, that he was something more than just a crazy person. That, hey, maybe he's got some kind of supernatural power. Maybe there's something more. And then that was amplified up when he went to the hospital, following up mere hours later, trying to still kill Jamie Lee Curtis, his sister. And she had to escape blowing him up with the oxygen tanks at the end of part 2. Now, I feel that 1 and 2 should still be canon. And, if you don't think about it too much, why not? It can easily flow into this movie, because all of, the other sequels that had taken place directly after those basically acknowledge that, hey, he had survived that oxygen tank explosion, Michael Myers. Yeah, sure, he was burnt up a little bit, but he was still alive. If he could truly be killed, but he was in a coma, and then he woke up. And I think that that Halloween, okay, not counting 3, because that had the masks, and that had something totally different than Michael Myers, and the Jamie Lee Curtis thing, even though it was still a Carpenter film. They had something different, but I feel that as the sequels went along, I think there was a slow merging of those two as Michael Myers, became more into being a supernatural figure, maybe a devil or a demon possessing him, some type of satanic power, because they always alluded later on, and this is well before the Rob Zombie remake of Halloween and the H2O Halloween remake. They were still continuing off of Halloween 1 and 2 by John Carpenter. I think they were incorporating 3 as, there was some kind of witchcraft or satanic worshipers that seemed to be attuned to Michael Myers, or maybe those were the guys like maybe chanting and imbuing him with some type of supernatural demonic power and driving him towards doing what he was doing. Because, Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't involved in those after 2 and until H2O or whatever, which had nothing to do with those prior sequels. It pretty much went straight to video after that. Because I think the last one I had seen in the 90s, Michael Myers they caught him, they chained him up, the police, they threw him in jail, and by this time Donald Pleasant was already dead. He was in a couple of those video remakes, but by this time he was dead. Suddenly some dark figure in dark clothing gets off of this bus, this Greyhound bus that had just come to town, and then all of a sudden the police station or something explodes and Michael Myers escapes. That he had something to do with it. Maybe this was like some satanic worshiper or witch or something that had come to town to free Michael Myers. But sadly, or maybe fortunately, more like fortunately, we never saw the end of that wherever this was going, because Jamie Lee Curtis, they had found that he had a new sister and there was a new little girl, and that he was after, and it was a mess. It was a mess, and it stayed a mess all the way into the early 2000s until 3 years ago, when we had this phenomenal remake going back to, again, I say 1 and 2, but they say officially just 1. The hospital oxygen tank explosion thing never happened. That was Halloween, the remake, and now followed up with this sequel, Halloween Kills. In this one, Jamie Lee Curtis never died. They captured him at the end. He went to jail and he was locked up. And at the end of the 3 years ago Halloween movie, 2 reporters come to visit him, tell him that his sister is still alive, doing well, blah, blah, blah. Kind of reinvigorates his mind so that he escapes the mental institution, kills the reporters, and goes once again on a rampage after his sister. However, since 20, 30, how many years had passed? I'm no mathematician. Since the 80s or 70s or whatever to what was it, 2019 that movie came out. Maybe 2018, I think. She traps him in her house, had all these rooms rigged, ready. She was just waiting for the day that he would escape the mental institution and come after her so that she herself could kill him. Trapped him in these cells inside her house. Captain America himself would have a hard time breaking out of these cells. Bars, a cage in the house, etc. Sets the whole house on fire. Just to watch him burn. Kind of an homage to, I thought, Halloween 2 with John Carpenter all those years ago, and I thought that, hey, that was it. That was it. Hey, good job. They did a great remake. That was it. But then, lo and behold, they made a part 2. They're making a part 2 coming out here in October, just a few more weeks. And we will see, for this Halloween season, Halloween Kills, Halloween 2, with Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers. Apparently, it still, again, takes place just mere moments after the end of that first movie 3 years ago. That Jamie Lee Curtis and her daughter escape his attack. They had entrapped him in the house. No means of escape, to burn to death and be just ash, which would totally, certainly kill him for sure. But somehow he escapes, and there we have this new movie, still after her own daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter, and her now, and with Michael Myers on the run, and maybe Jamie Lee Curtis still determined to take him down herself. And this is the trailer that we're going to go ahead and witness right now as we speak. I'll go ahead and turn it up. Here's the volume. Halloween Kills, here in October. I'm excited for this movie. I love the Halloween series. Again, I didn't watch the Rob Zombie. I heard that was really bad, that remake, and the following ones with the H2O and all that stuff. But, you know, the original John Carpenter, 1, 2. As a kid, I didn't like 3 because it's like, hey, where's Michael Myers? You know, the one with the Halloween masks and all that. But over the years, I have grown to appreciate that movie and what it was seeking to accomplish, changing the narrative of the film and the focus, and believing that there's room for all of this to coexist. And maybe those witches and the masks, and maybe that's why Michael Myers went crazy to begin with, that he put on one of those masks that company had made, these devil worshippers or whatever, that would change people and they'd take over the world, or whatever 3 was totally about. That's what it seemed to be. You know, maybe he was an early test case for that, and that's what drove him insane and imbued him with this supernatural power to go kill his sister. But but I digress. My trailer reaction, here we go, right now. All right.
Hey, what are you guys doing out here?
Okay.
Halloween, we've been trick-or-treating. Are you alone?
Okay, this is still the same night, so these kids, you know, people are probably hearing this killer going around, and oh shoot, and see, and so kids should be indoors. Halloween trick-or-treating should be all done because this killer is on the loose. Oh, and he's still out there. See, so he escapes. Okay, how does he escape? Okay, and so now he's after these other kids, other people just randomly killing. Okay, very, very Halloweenish, but still, okay, Miramax, Blumhouse, okay. See, yeah, he was killed. Okay, set the fire, how do you get out? Okay. Oh, he's alive. Well, how come you guys aren't out there looking for him then? Okay, she's in the hospital. Again, maybe an homage to 2. Oh, the firefighter. He kills the firefighters. Oh my goodness. See, this is back to the very first movie.
What do we do?
Okay, that sounds good to me.
We're gonna hunt him down and we're gonna put an end to this.
Wow. Okay. Well, see, there you go. The whole town's after him. How can Michael Myers take on an entire town out for his blood?
To Michael's childhood home.
Okay. Now, how come there aren't like news reports, or, you know, they'd sound like some kind of sirens or something, emergency sirens. Police ought to be all over the place. It's like, hey, you know, beware of some killer on the loose. Are these people just, oh, I heard a noise in my house and running around? Oh, shoot.
You wanna kill someone? Take me!
Okay. All right.
I wanna take his mask off and see the life from his eyes.
That sounds interesting. I don't know, struggling with his face. That could be, oh, okay, that's right. This is going to be on, here, let me pause that here. That's right, this is going to be on Peacock. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I thought I paused that. Okay. Sorry about that. Gosh. Yeah, that's right. This is going to be in theaters, and then also it's going to be on, if you have subscribed and paid money for the Peacock app, the NBC, they call it the Peacock app. You get to see Halloween Kills at home instead of having to go to the theater. Now, this is not, they offer a free version of Peacock with commercials. That version is not making this movie, Halloween Kills, available. You know, it's only if you pay money for the app, for the subscription itself to Peacock, that you will see the movie unless you want to go to the theater. And I will definitely go to the theater to see this movie, as I'm a big fan. However, looking at this, here, let me shut that off. Looking at this trailer, and that the whole town, you know, it does make sense. I mean, there were a lot of bodies left at the end of the first one. Apparently Jamie Lee Curtis, her daughter, have been brought in for questioning, their house being burnt up. People want answers. So I guess knowledge is going to get out that her crazy brother is out there on the loose again. However, you know, all the whole town people coming a la Frankenstein, mob carrying the torches and stuff after them seems a little far-fetched. And it's like, well, how is Michael Myers going to defeat this whole town? You know, I don't know. Especially in like that clip where we saw he's standing there against this crowd of people. Now, I know what I want to see. I want to see him wading through all these people. I want to see people like flying as he's tossing them left and right to get to Jamie Lee Curtis. That, you know, he's like the Hulk, unstoppable, just going to plow through these guys, killing them left and right as they try to take down this normal crazy guy. But somehow he's got these supernatural powers that he's going to reach Jamie Lee Curtis. And almost like the homage to, what, H2O Part 2 or whatever, where I hear Jamie Lee Curtis at the beginning of the movie. She's in that movie just briefly, enough to get killed by her brother, Michael Myers. Has him almost, you know, being killed again. And, you know, she wants to look under the mask. And then he kills her instead. This seems to be like an homage to that moment of that bad movie. So that and the whole mob scene, as much as I want to see Michael Myers tossing these bodies around like, you know, like some rampaging beast, you know, plowing through this mob of people, that kind of takes away of the little bit of suspense and the mystery of Michael Myers, or even Jason, you know, jumping out of the shadows, you know, sneaking up on, like in the house. But we do get parts of that. But to have him confronted by a whole armed mob, and even as delightful as it would seem to be that he can take out this whole mob, more than likely, it does take a little bit of the illusion away. But it does add to the reality of the film that they would be bringing up. You know, people have been alerted. They're looking out for this crazy guy. You know, I guess other than those poor people in the house that didn't know that he was out on the loose. And, oh, what's that noise downstairs? Ah! So yes, I give this trailer a shock of thumbs up. I'm looking forward to the film here in October. I'm going to see it in the theater. If you have Peacock, I don't know. Well, I think I know one person who has it. But I don't know if she has the paid version. If she might have the paid version, so she'll be able to watch it at home. I don't know anybody else who is, or anybody else who would. I certainly would not recommend you to go run out and buy the Peacock app just to watch Halloween. I'd say just see it in the theater. You know, wear your mask. It's going to be Halloween anyways, and wear your mask. If you're worried about the COVID. You know, and of course get your shot, but, you know, and go have some fun at the movie theaters. I mean, you know, that's probably going to be much, much safer than, you know, running around trick-or-treating or going to Halloween parties or whatever. But I digress. Shock and thumbs up again for Halloween Kills, Halloween Part 2 of this latest iteration, still with Jamie Lee Curtis. Still what I want to see, you know, her going after her brother. A little confused about how they're going to handle the whole town also going after him, but I'm still optimistic, although I'm a little hesitant but still optimistic enough to give it a shock and thumbs up. All right, this is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man, saying mahalo and aloha.